No, I just have virtual background. It's really
Lovely.
easy. Yeah, it's really easy. It's literally a photo.
Yeah, I've tried that. I don't think my
Good afternoon. It is just after 1 o'clock, 5 minutes after 1. Welcome to the Smart Hubs Hub Live for today. As you know, we do these Hub Lives to encourage our business community and people in business to not only take their businesses online and adopt technology, but also modern best business practice to help us thrive and survive in these current times. So today we're going to do just that, and I'm very excited because I am joined by the amazing Mark Allen. Hey Mark, how are you?
Hi, yeah, I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Hey Mark, where are you?
I'm in Brisbane. I'm in my house, like pretty much every other Australian, and yeah, I'm in my home office here. So it's been a really interesting time, and it's been an interesting way to adapt to this new way of working.
It is interesting. I'm in my house too. It doesn't seem like it. I have an amazing virtual background, but yeah, I'm home as well. So tell us, Mark, you're from Get Patched, or Patch, as I know you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your business and your background, just really briefly, and then we'll get into Google and Google Ads and how to help your customers find you via Google.
Sure. Well, yeah, as you said, I'm from Patch. Patch is a property startup. It's a platform that allows you to put offers on any property, whether it's for sale or not. It connects buyers and sellers, and it facilitates a sale online at a fraction of the cost. So my background is real estate and property. I've always worked in real estate and property on the marketing side of it. So my parents are, real estate developer and a real estate agent, and I grew up on, mowing the yards of spec homes and property developments, and I've worked in new home sales, and I really cut my teeth in property marketing on the agency side, marketing agency side, where I'd work on large scale property developers all around Australia. I had a small digital property marketing consultancy where we would do digital marketing for real estate developers and high-rise developments and property developments and things like that, using Google Ads and social media advertising and whatnot before I moved into working on Patch full-time.
Wonderful. And we have to say that you're also one of our Turbo Traction Lab alumni, which I'm super proud of. Yay for the Turbo Traction Lab. Yay. Okay, so digital marketing is really what we're talking about today, but more specifically Google. Why is Google so important?
Google's really important because the two largest advertisers that you have, advertising platforms that you have online, are Google and Facebook. And when we talk about Facebook, we talk about all of the different platforms that fall underneath the Facebook banner. So you really want to make sure that you're across Google, because that puts you in front of people through search, through display ads, through shopping ads, on mobile, pretty much everywhere that you're going to go that's not on social media. And that's really the duality of how we use digital media these days. So you're either on social and apps, or you're on Google and other websites. So it's about capturing attention on those platforms.
Awesome. Katrina Lance, thank you so much for joining us today. Great to have you on our Hub Live. I'm joined by the incredible Mark Allen, and we're going to talk about how to use Google to your advantage, how to get customers through Google. So take us through the process.
Yeah, so the best way to do that is to really I'll share my screen and I can show you the console. So let me just go through the process of doing that.
Hey Tracy, thank you for joining us. If you're watching us live, please give us a hey or a thumbs up or a comment, because that way we know that they're watching and we can say hello. We get super excited when people check in with us and they're watching and we can interact. Also, if you have a question for Mark, please feel free to pop that in the comments, and I'll be reading out those questions, Mark, so that we can get you to share your very, very, very well-deserved knowledge around Google and Google ads. Now I'm reading the screen and talking at the same time. That's never a good strategy.
Okay, so if you can see my screen here, this is really where you want to start. So this is the Google Ads console. So it used to be called AdWords. It's now called Google Ads. I'll probably refer to it as either or interchangeably. But this is the big, scary Google Ads console. This is what it looks like, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I'll just break it down really simply for you. So this is the dashboard. So this is the area that gives you all of the information on how your campaigns are running, what are some of the key metrics that you're achieving, how are your keywords running, how are your ad sets running. It's really a bird's eye view of how you're performing. Then if we sort of jump into the campaign structure here, you can see, now this is just an example, one that we've set up, but you can see all the different campaigns that are running and all of these many KPIs or key performance indicators here around clicks and impressions and all of these sort of things. So really jumping in and understanding all of these is key to being able to make sure that the campaigns that you're running are performing and achieving what you set them out to do. So that's the console, and we can go deeper into that. But when you're thinking about running ads on Google, it's really important to start from the very beginning. So what you want to do, I'll just stop my share here and chat with you. So what you really want to do is you want to have a think about, what do I want my ads to achieve? And that's your objective. That's where you should start. And there's lots of different things that you can do with your campaigns. So example objectives may be you want to run a campaign to get more traffic to your website. So because you want people to read, and you may want to sell things. So you want to generate sales online through your online store. You want to generate leads. So you're someone who needs to follow up leads. So you want to capture people's contact details, name, address, etc., like that. So you can either do that through Google or you can send people to your website to do that, but you set that as an objective. So they're really the three main key objectives that you want to set out from the very beginning. Once you've got that, you then need to work backwards and think, well, who am I talking to? Where will I find them? Who are they? What are the characteristics that make up who they are? What are their interests? What are their demographics? So for example, if I had to make up an example avatar, if I was selling barbecues online, because I love barbecues, I would say one possible avatar or target market could be males 18 to 34 who live in Queensland, in particular cities, and you can specify where. And you then can have a think about what their interests are, and those translate into keywords. So people who are 18 to 34 who live in Queensland who are interested in barbecues may perhaps be searching for best barbecues to buy, or barbecue cookbooks, or barbecue recipes. These are all of the things that you can use to try and trigger the search results so that you can place your ad up in front of them, so that when they're searching for those things, you can create ads that will promote your product. So you're more likely to get people to click on them.
That's awesome. Hey, Josh. Hey, Jade. Hey, Tess. Hey, Tony. Thank you so much for joining us. We're talking all things Google with the amazing Mark Allen. And so really, the two things that we need to think about is, number one, prior to even going to Google or trying to set up a campaign, this is what you need to do, maybe on a Word document. Number one, you need to clearly specify and think about what it is that you want to achieve with your Google ads. And really, Mark, you specified three things. People can go back and see what they are. And then secondly, you have to know who your target market is. And that is so critical in any marketing, whether it's Google, whether it's Facebook, regardless of what marketing you do, the better you can specify your target market and the better avatar that you can create for that target market. So avatar really is the word that we use to describe a persona, like a person who would represent all of your market. The better you're able to define and understand your avatar and think from your avatar's perspective, the better your marketing results will be, right?
That's right.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
What do we do next?
Well, so the next thing to do is to think about the sort of ad type that you want to use. So Google has a massive amount of different ad types that you can use. And so for instance, there's shopping ads where you can put up images of your actual products with prices, and people can click on it and purchase straight from the feed there. There's also your standard search ads. So these are the ads that everyone's seen. You type in your keywords, so barbecues, and text ads will come up in the feed. They just look like results there. There's display ads. So they're the website banners that you see on websites all around the internet, and in apps, and on YouTube and things like that. And also there's video ads. So talking of YouTube, so you can create video ads that can play on YouTube before a video, during a video. You can also display those videos on third-party sites. So if you've ever been using a free app and you've got to watch a short video, you can use those to promote your product. So really trying to figure out which ad type is best for you and you want to use. It can be a little bit overwhelming. So my suggestion would be to just stick to the core, and you've got display ads and search ads, just pure and simple. Website banners are the display ads, and then your search ads are your text ads that display when you search for stuff online. So start with those, and then you can experiment with different ad types as you get a bit more experience.
Okay. Hey, Daniel, John, Chris, Katrina, and Sharon, thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, Chris Larang says, go Mark, go Patch. Yeah, I agree. Go Mark, go Patch. Right. Okay. So search ads and display ads. How do you know what to choose?
Well, you can get really deep in the weeds here and think about customer journey mapping and all of those sort of things, and sales funnels. But on a really basic level, you'd use search ads to initially get in contact with someone. So you would create a search ad and you'd use those keywords to trigger when someone searches for something. And then when they go through to your website and they have a look around, we'll keep using the barbecue analogy here. So they've clicked through to your barbecue website, they're having a look around, there's nothing that's really catching their eye, or maybe, the dog's barking because there's someone at the front door, and they close your website. You then use your display ads, your banner ads, to start to display your business on websites that they're visiting all around the internet. So those banner ads are used as additional touch points. They're there to remind people about your business, to reinforce perhaps a specific product that they were looking at, and really keep you in top of mind until that person is ready to come back to your website. So once you've paid for someone to go to your website, you don't want to then lose them because of something that's gotten in the way there. So use those website banners to just keep reminding them for, I often use about 30 days before you stop displaying them, because you don't want to bother people. But it really depends on your customer journey and lifetime, how long it takes to get them.
That's, I think, a really, really important point to make. Sometimes we have this idea in our mind that you display an ad and then you're kind of waiting for a transaction to happen because of that ad. So you see a straight line between putting the ad online and wanting the customer to transact with you. But really, in the whole online world, it's a lot more about relationship and about being front of mind of your target market than we would even think about if you have that straight line mindset, right? And so once you've lured someone to your website once, really think about what else can you show them and where do you need to show that to them so that you can get them back. And then if you're good enough to capture the email address, maybe you go around and you communicate with them via their inbox, and all with the intent of getting them back to transacting with you. So building likability and trust and delivering value to them, all to bring them back to that transaction point.
Correct. Yeah. So you want to have multiple touch points. I mean, in a sophisticated Google ad setup, you would have high-level search ads. So these are ones for really generic terms where someone is searching for generic terms about your business, just to introduce yourself to that person. And then they may visit your website, you can retarget them with a website banner. And then when they're on a third-party website or YouTube, they start to see videos about your business. So it's a video ad you can do through Google. And then they're further along in that customer journey and they're thinking about actually purchasing, let's say, a barbecue from you. So they're searching specifically for specific barbecue models, and that's when your Google Shopping ads can start to come up. So you can start to see where you can tie in all of the different ad types in a more sophisticated way to make sure that no matter where they are on that customer journey, you can make sure that you've got a presence all the way along that touch point, all the way to the point of conversion or purchase.
Wonderful. Okay, so you have to show us how to actually do that by sharing your screen. Can you do that for us, Mark? So while you get the screen on, I just want to acknowledge Steve, Karen, Selena, Tanya, and Jason. We get so excited when people come and join us for our Hub Lives. Thank you so much for being here with us today. If you have a question for Mark Allen, please feel free to hop into the comments and just send us a question, and Mark will do his best to answer those questions. Also, if you're watching, please just say hello in the comments. That way we know you're watching, and we can do a shout out, which really, really excites us. So Mark, let's see, how can we achieve a sale through Google Ads?
Yeah, sure. Well, we'll start by having a look at the structure of a campaign. So this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and this is where it can be a little bit confusing because, you know, what's an ad set? Where does a campaign sit as opposed to an ad, and all of these sort of questions that we get. So we'll start by having a look at a typical AdWord campaign setup or Google Ads setup. This can be a little bit overwhelming. So we'll just have a look at this specific area here. So you can see the three different elements. You've got a campaign, and then under that, you've got your ad group level. And then the red ones below here are your ads. And the way that that works, if we break that down, is your campaigns, they're really the container that hold all of the ad groups and ads there. They're the structure that contains all of that there. The ad groups allow your customization. So that's where you set who you're talking to, the keywords, what locations they're in, all of those sort of things. And then your ads are pretty self-explanatory. So that's whether you're using a search ad or a display ad, and you may have multiple different ads and recommend to have multiple different ads at this level here. So the campaign, as I said, so this is where you set your objective. This is where you say, all right, this campaign is going to be to generate sales. So I'm going to optimize this at this level to make sure that it goes after people who are more likely to buy from me. And you can set your bid strategy, your budget, all of those sort of things here. The ad group, that's where I was saying, that's where you target your keywords. You know, you can group different ad groups at this level as well. So you might have, under one campaign, you might have one ad group that targets barbecue buyers, one that targets barbecue buyers in Sydney, one that targets one in Melbourne, or you may target different keywords based on the different types of products. And then the ads, as I was saying, you have multiple. So an example of what that structure can look like, you know, you've got your campaigns, ad groups, and ads. You may have multiple ad groups, and then under that, you may have multiple ads. So that's really the very basic starting block on how you should be setting up your campaigns. Ad groups are targeting multiple different ads because you want to put variation in your messaging out there.
Okay, so we're actually going to share this document, right, with the people on the live.
Yes.
So yep, don't worry, you're going to get access to all of these screens. Okay, so one campaign with a specific outcome, and then ads, ad groups, and then the multiple ads, and they kind of fit one thing. And then the account, I saw that your Google account is at the top. So that's the place where all of this is happening.
Yeah, that's right. And I can run through the difference between the two core ad types, so the search ads and the display ads, if that's going to make it a bit clearer as well. We've got some examples on this slide.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Joan, thanks for watching us. Courtney's just saying she's already shared the link to the Google Drive where you can have access to this document. So if you just go to the comments, just access the Google Drive link, and then you can get access to these slides.
Excellent. Okay, so I'll run through the two different ad types that we were talking about earlier. So as you can see, there's tons of different ad types, and it can be really overwhelming. So what I'd recommend if you're starting out is just start with search and display ads. So search ads to get people to your website, display ads to remind them about you once they leave. But there are different types. You can have call ads if you want people to specifically call you, not visit your website, you just want to get that call. You can do dynamic product ads, so you can actually list all of your different ads, your different products, and you can display based on what people look at. Responsive text ads, shopping ads, video ads, it goes on and on. So we'll just look at the main two here of search ads and display ads. So I've got an example a business here that I'll use throughout the slide deck here. So what we've got is the search ads here. Everyone's seen these. They display once you put a keyword into the search console, and the display ads, these are website banners that you see on websites around the internet. So starting with search ads, you see these, as we said, in the search console. They appear as search results. They appear above the organic ones. So they're really powerful if you're trying to get your message across, or perhaps you're a new business or you don't have a lot of SEO optimization, search engine optimization on your website. So you're not showing up high in the feed. This is a good way to shortcut that. You will pay more to appear higher depending on how much other people are bidding on that keyword. So if you're bidding on something that's really popular, say pizza, or something that's specific, other people may be bidding on it, and it may be expensive to be up higher in those results. These ads are triggered by keywords. So you select those keywords ahead of time, and then those ads will be triggered based on what keywords people are putting into that search console. Just breaking down, this is an example of a search ad, and breaking it down there, you can see it's quite complicated. But basically, there's some main elements here. The title or the headline, this is what people look at first. It's what generates most of the clicks. The rest of it is important, but not as important as that headline. You've really got to nail your value proposition up here. And if you can, you want to relate it to what people are searching for. So you can see here Mother's Day flowers, and this person has searched for Mother's Day flowers. That's more likely to be relevant to what they're searching for.
Hey, Mark, can I just interrupt you? How do we know what people are searching for? So how can we link what we think the search terms should be to what the search terms actually are?
Yeah, great question. So there's a keyword planner tool within Google Ads. So you can log into Google Ads and you can put in what you can do a couple of things. So you can put in the URL of your website, and it will crawl your website, and it will give you a list of keywords that you should be using that it suggests, which is a really powerful thing to do. The other thing that you can do is you can put in subjects, or you can put in example keywords, and Google Ads will generate a list of keywords based on that. So it will suggest a whole lot of them for you. Once you select the ones that you want, and in that console, it will actually show you the average number of searches for the last period. So how many people have searched for this, how many people have clicked on it, how popular it is. So, you may be looking for, say, search words around barbecues. Again, we'll keep coming back to barbecues. And you may think that this one keyword is definitely what people are searching for. You can put it into the search console, and Google will actually tell you, yes, that is a great keyword. It has had 1,000 searches last month. The average cost per click is this, or it will tell you that it's not good. So it's a way to really to shortcut that.
Excellent, thank you. Hey Juan, hey Lorraine, thanks for joining us today. Wonderful to see you on our HubLive. We're talking about Google, obviously, with Mark Allen. Okay, so Mark, those search terms are really important. If you get that wrong, then your ads are not going to perform very well, right?
Yeah, that's correct. There's actually sorry.
There you go. No, this is the best part of doing it online and live, when we keep, this happens all the time when multiple people talk at the same time. It's awesome. You go.
So with regards to the keywords, you're absolutely right. If you don't have the right keywords, you won't show up at all. So you have to bid for those keywords. Those keywords are public. You don't own a keyword, you have to bid for it. So you bid against other people. If it's a really popular keyword, it could be very expensive. So you need to try and figure out what your budget is ahead of time. If you're selling shoes for $10 and it costs you $10 per click, you're going to want to hope that you have 100% conversion rate on that click, but it's not likely. So if they're popular, they'll be expensive. There's ways that you can adjust that though, and you can use different match types. And here's a list of all the different match types on the right-hand side here. So you can have broad match, exact match, broad match modified, phrase match, negative, you can use a search term report, and we went through how to find keywords. So what these do is you can use, you can take one keyword and you can attach different match types to it to try and increase the likelihood that you'll get your click on there, and you won't get nonsense clicks or clicks that from people who aren't really interested in what you're presenting your ad for. And these are really interesting. So for example, by default, if you were putting a keyword of barbecues in there and you just put barbecue, the word barbecue, that would be a broad match because it's one keyword and it will match anyone who's typing in anything to do with barbecue, and it will show actually it will show results for anything relating to barbecues as well. So someone might be typing in something completely different, but it relates vaguely to barbecues, and you'll be shown there. So that can be really expensive if you don't have the right match there. So you can really narrow that field down and make it a lot more relevant by using these match types. So broad match modifier is one of those. You can attach a plus sign to the front of the word barbecue and it will appear within searches relating specifically to barbecue. So it's when you lock a keyword in place there, so what you're doing is just saying, I want this to appear in search queries relating to this specific keyword. So it's just a lot tighter results there. And another one is phrase matching. So you can put in, instead of a keyword, you can put in a phrase, and Google will return your result if someone is typing in that phrase. So that's useful if you want to put in something a little bit more specific. And if you want to be absolutely specific, you can use exact match. So exact match is when it returns queries for exactly that keyword. So you might say barbecues for sale. So if someone is typing in barbecues for sale or to buy, they'll specifically be showing your ad, and your ad won't show for anything else. So you can really nail that down to be very specific, but it's a bit of a balancing act on how specific you go, because you don't want to miss out on showing your ads to the right people.
Awesome. Okay, so I think I've jumped ahead. Did I jump ahead? Did we go ahead? Should we go back to where we were before?
Oh yeah, well, I think it's good. There's a discussion here. There's no real linear way. There's lots of different things that you need to consider to get your campaigns up and running here. But we've covered structure, so the campaign structure of how you should be shaping it and setting your objective ahead of time, and what sort of ads you should be running and what keywords trigger those ads and how you can target them.
Okay, excellent. So what's next? What should we be thinking about next?
So next we can look at here, really the metrics. So once you've got your campaigns up and running, you've set your objective, you've got your campaign structure, and you've got your ads set up there, your search and your display ads. You need to have a look at what your metrics are. So what results, and when we looked at the console here, you can see with your campaign all of the different metrics here. What you want to do is understand what these mean. So what the heck is that good? Is that bad? So what we can do here is we can look, I've just zoomed in where this red box is on the next one here. I've zoomed in here so you can see an example of what these metrics are, and I'll just explain how to read them and why they're important.
Yes, please decipher these for us.
Yeah, CPC, CTR, CPC, impressions, conversions. It can be a little bit overwhelming. It can be very overwhelming. So we'll just start with the first one. So clicks, it's pretty self-explanatory. That's just the number of clicks that ad has received. Really important, that's what you're getting charged for if it's a search campaign. So the number of clicks is a good metric to help you understand, if it's being effective at a really top level. The next one is impressions, and that simply tells you how many times that ad has been served up. So if you've got a really broad keyword and you're getting thousands of impressions but no clicks, that's probably telling you I need to tighten that down a little bit. So I need to make sure that I'm not getting thousands I'm not showing the ad thousands of times and no one's clicking on it. That means that I'm probably showing it to the wrong people. And a good way to measure that is just with this percentage. CTR stands for click-through rate. And it's really just the percentage of impressions that resulted in actual clicks. So if that number is super low, under 1%, you know it's not being really effective. You want it to be up, over 1% at least. And the way that you measure that is you just take the clicks, divide them by the impressions, times them by 100, and it gives you your CTR, your click-through rate. So that's telling you, if that is being effective or not. The next one is your average CPC, or cost per click. So you're getting 1,482 clicks, but is it costing you a lot of money? Is it $10 a click? Is it $100 a click? If that's happening, you probably want to have a look at your campaign there and figure out if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The way that we calculate that is it's just your total cost. So you can see in the next column there, it's $1,600 divided by your total clicks. And that gives you your average cost per click, or CPC. So $1.11, not bad. It really depends on your industry. If you're Cadbury's chocolate and you're bidding on the keyword chocolate, it's probably going to be a little bit higher. If you're a small business and you're in a niche and you've got a very specific product, it will probably be a lot lower.
Awesome. Can I, Penny, Kylie, Simon, Dave, Walter, the company, and Peter, thank you so much for joining us. Mark Allen, explain to us what would be, and I know this is probably a bit of an unfair question, but how should you think about your cost per click? Because this is really important, right? How much money should you be spending on Google Ads? And how do you know what a click is worth? Like for you, how do you then track whether that leads to a transaction? How does the money side of Google Ads work?
Yeah, it's a really important thing to understand. If you're running, so for example here, if we have a look at conversions, so that's when we were talking about setting up your campaign. And the first thing that you've got to try and figure out is, what's your objective? What do you want to do? This is where you set your conversion when you're setting up your campaign. It might be defined as the number of sales or leads or downloads on your website, but this is where you measure if it's being effective or not. And when coming back to your question about how do you know how much you should be spending, that comes into your cost per conversion. So that's just telling you that you got 107 conversions, you spent $1,600, therefore 1,600 divided by 107 is $15. So for every single conversion that you've made, each one has cost you $15. Now, if you're selling shoes online for $10, that's a terrible campaign, and you need to look at your targeting, your advertising, who you're showing this to. If you're selling an online course for $2,000 and your cost to convert them is $15, that's a terrific campaign. So that's really the high level metric that we focus on is cost per conversion, because that's where the buck stops. It's relevant relative to your particular brand, your particular business, etc. The leading metrics to that are your cost per click, and that will influence your cost per conversion. Now, to try and answer that in an uncomplicated way, your cost per click, it comes from your keywords. So within this campaign that we're looking at here, you may have not 1,000, but you may have a group of keywords, and each of those keywords has a different cost per click. So it's super important that within your campaigns, you're monitoring how much each of those keywords is costing you, and you're eliminating keywords that are expensive, and you're focusing on keywords that are not costing you a lot of money, but they're also delivering conversions. So there's a myriad of KPIs to keep an eye on.
Okay, so Jade wants to know, she has a question. How does this example rate, if this was or is or was real? So if this is a real dashboard that someone's looking at, would you say that this is good or not so good?
So this is an example campaign that we've set up, and we've used it throughout the slide deck that you can download for a fictional business that does training. And this business delivers training for thousands and thousands of dollars. And so in this example, this is a really good result. Every business is different, every industry is different. So to give a benchmark is very difficult, but I'll try. So if you can see my cursor on the screen here, I'm not sure if it translates.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, it does. Okay. So every business is different to have these benchmarks, but if you keep this in mind, this is about standard. Your click-through rate should be north of 1%. I know that seems really, really low, but that's the very base that you want to be hitting is 1%. 4.3% click-through rate, fantastic. That's a really good result. Cost per click, you want to ideally have under $1, but again, it depends on the industry and how popular those keywords are. So this one would be a little bit high in this case. The next metric here is your cost per conversion. So a good way, what you need to consider here is what the conversion actually is. So in this example campaign, this one that we've set up, this is to deliver leads, not to actually purchase a course online. So this is to deliver leads. And we know that it takes, for every 10 leads that we deliver, we know that they generate 1 sale. So that means that 10 times $15 is $150, and they will generate a few $1,000s based on that. So that is a really good cost per conversion, really, really good. If we were selling it online, if this was, the conversion was a sale, and the sale was thousands of dollars, that's an even better outcome. Conversion rates here, if you're sending people to a landing page or a website where they're converting, the industry standard is between 5 to 10% is a good conversion rate. Again, every industry is different. This is just a broad benchmark to think of. So in this respect, 7% is sitting right in the sweet spot there. Could be better, but it's above the low point that we want to set there. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, Jade says, understood, thanks very much. Yeah, I think you've got it,
Awesome.
You nailed it. Very good.
Great,
And
great.
if anyone else has a question, please feel free to pop those in the comments for us, and we'll do our very best to answer those questions. And Aiden and everyone else, thank you so much for joining us today. We are excited to talk to Mark Allen from Patch about Google Ads. Right, so where do we go from here, Mark?
So this is what you want to be keeping your eye on at all times. This will help you understand whether your campaigns are performing within thresholds or performing badly. But it's really important that you set those thresholds ahead of time. So as I went through those benchmarks, you should really have an understanding of ultimately what your cost per conversion needs to be. So that when you log in here, there's no questioning it. You know that we have to have a conversion rate under $20, and if you look at that at 15, it's going great, excellent. If you've got multiple campaigns running as well, you can then benchmark them against each other and say, well, this one's getting 7.2% conversion rate, but the one below it's getting 20. And then you can then start to play off the different campaigns based on their results. And it's really a pruning strategy. So you start to prune away the campaigns and the ad sets and the ads that are underperforming, and you let the ones that are performing better thrive, and you start to get better results from that as a result. Just to jump, I know that we spoke about the ad types. We started to talk about the search ads, but we just jumped away before we spoke about the display ads. I think it might be useful to go through that.
Just while you move on, I have another question here. So Simon, hey Simon, thanks for joining us. Is there a preferred campaign length? This is Simon's question. When's the perfect time to review an existing campaign? Constantly.
So optimization, you should be optimizing the campaigns constantly. There can be complications if you're making changes too often though. So you've really got to put a rule in there that you can only make changes when changes are statistically significant. That means that if you're jumping into a campaign and it's been running for a day and it's had 100 conversions, you can probably make a call on whether that's performing or not. But if it's been running for a day and nothing's happened, you've had no conversions, leave it. It hasn't been running for long enough. a good rule of thumb is 5 days or 10 conversions. That's just a really basic rule of thumb. Don't make a decision before one of those two things has happened. So if you've had 10 conversions in your first day, you can probably make a decision on that campaign. If it's been running for 5 days and you've had no conversions, then you can probably call it that it's not an effective campaign and something needs to change. So, so in answer to your question, constantly keep an eye on it, but only make changes when the campaign has statistically significant thresholds. So 5 days or 10 conversions.
Awesome. Right. So back to display ads.
Yeah. So we spoke about the search ads. The other ad type that you can be running is display ads. So these appear on websites all around the internet. They also appear on third-party sites, although you can opt out of those. Third-party sites are partner sites that Google buys space on. So you may have seen small banner ads at the bottom of free apps, or ads at the bottom of websites and things like that. So it's debatable how effective those third-party ones are, but they generally appear on websites, and everyone's seen banner ads everywhere whenever they've visited websites. You can use them in two different ways. So you can use them to retarget visitors, which means that when someone visits your website and then leaves, you can start to show them banner ads all around the internet to remind them. The other way that you can do this is you can proactively display your banner ads based on characteristics that you define of your audience. So this is where we come back to your avatar. So if you define an audience ahead of time, you say males 18 to 34 who are interested in the following things, or they visit the following websites, or any other characteristics, you can start to show your ad to them without them even visiting your website or knowing about you. So this is what we call prospecting, display prospecting. So you're really trying to create awareness of your brand in that audience. So display ads, this is an example display ad, banner ad. As you can see, like it's a simple messaging vehicle. So it's ideal for someone to really quickly scan it and get an understanding. They're not going to spend a lot of time. Basically less than a second you've got to capture someone's attention. They're not going to really sit there and scan the ad and read everything about it and consider it. They're going to cast their eye over it as they're looking over the website. So you've really got to use the least amount of information to demonstrate exactly what you're talking about. Always include a CTA, or call to action. So that's that learn more button there. You really, if you do get them to click on it, you want to direct their action there. Banner ads generate on average 0.02% of clicks. So their click-through rate, as you saw in those metrics before, the click-through rate I think was 4.3% for the text ads, the search ads. You're going to sit under 1% for banner ads, and that's because they're not really there to generate clicks. They're there to remind people. They're a reminder vehicle to keep you in top of mind with your audience. And
awesome.
Less is best. Yeah,
okay.
Less is definitely best, as you can see.
Okay. Hey Paul, hey Adrian, thank you so much for joining us. So Mark, what is the design of an effective display ad? Because this one, the 4 times fuel saving, that is very different to the aged care example we were looking at before.
Yeah, that's right. So ideally, if we were going to break this down, logo, a headline, and a call to action. Those are the 3 things. You don't put anything else in there. You only want to pick one message that you want to communicate, and that's that there's aged care courses. That's it. That's all you can say. You don't want to sit there and try and say that you can get gift cards, phone cards, 4 times as much. All of the partner logos. Don't put a URL on a banner ad, and terms and conditions. Like, that's just too much. In fact, if you should have no more than 6 words. That's a good rule of thumb. 6 words in the whole ad. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in this one. Logo, I guess you could count the logo, but we've got four in this one. So if we have a look in situ here of the really bad display ad compared to this example one we've created, just side by side there, you can see which one you can pick up that information from really quickly and easily just by scanning it. The one on the left is really busy. It's trying to communicate too much. It's cramming everything into it, and you're just going to ignore it. You're not going to look at it.
Yeah, okay, love it. No more than 6 words. Got it.
Yep. Yeah, and when you're creating your banner ads on Google, it can be a little bit overwhelming because there are so many sizes. So there's around 13 different banner sizes that you need to create if you want to be seen on the most amount of websites out there. Each website has different sizes available. So Google will call on your, when they've identified a website that they want to put your banner on, they will look at all the sizes that you have and they'll see if it fits. If it doesn't fit, you don't go on the website. So it's important that you do have as many of the sizes as you can get, but this can be time consuming. I recommend using a service like Canva to build these. It's really easy to do and you can adjust the sizes really easily, but it is time consuming. It can take a lot of time and a lot of manpower to get that done. So one solution to that is to use dynamic banners. So what we've done here for this example is we've just taken a group of different headlines and texts and images, and we've thrown the logo in. And this is an example. These are all examples of banner ads that Google creates for you. So what they do is they combine all the elements together and they generate the ads at any shape or any size. So all of a sudden you don't need to create 13 different ads. You just upload one. This is the actual console here. So you can see here, you upload all of your images. You can upload up to 5 different headlines and texts and body text. So you can actually create dynamic ads where you can test different headlines and texts and whatnot. And then Google will combine those and create this ad for you. So you do this once, you have multiple ads. It's what I would definitely recommend if you're starting out. You don't have a graphic designer on hand and you don't have time to build all of these in Canva yourself.
Okay, awesome. So dynamic ads is what we use to ensure that we have banners in all of those different sizes so that when Google calls on your ad, you're ready to go.
Yeah, that's right. And they look great as well.
Nice, nice. Okay, so basically, just to kind of guide us through what we've gone through up to this point. Number 1, be very clear on what you want the whole campaign to achieve. Number 2, be very, very clear on who your ideal target market is. Number 3, then pick either a search ad or a banner ad or both. Number 4, create these ads. Number 5, look at the results, right? And optimize the results as you go. Look at them all the time, but don't change anything until you have 5 days or 10 conversions.
Yeah, it's a good rule of thumb.
Cool. Did I kind of miss any steps? Is that a good overview of what we've done so far?
Yeah, that's a good start. I mean, there's so much more when you look under the hood that you can be doing, and different ad types and different targeting and different optimization, and if you really wanted to, you can create different ad sets that will target people at different times of the day or day of the week. You can target different regional areas and versus metro. There's a lot that you can do when you jump down the rabbit hole. So I would just recommend, if people are starting out with their business, start out really simply and just slowly add those different types of customizations as you feel comfortable and as you experiment, because you can lose a lot of money really quickly if you don't know what you're doing. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be a really simple solution. Pick a handful of keywords, pick 5 keywords and create an ad and put it out there and see if it's being effective. And then if it is, you look at which keywords are the most effective and put more in that are similar to that. If you create a text ad, create 2 and see which one's getting more clicks. Is it because the headline speaks more about the product or about a USP that you have? So these are the sort of things that you can slowly start to introduce to get more and more complex campaigns over time. But start really simply, start with a smaller budget and really grow from there.
Awesome. Hey, Gabrielle, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, Mark is sharing some really, really cool tips. Gabrielle says that you didn't know about dynamic ads, so thank you very much for sharing.
Mm.
I think you've shared some really, really, really useful tips and also just the framework of thinking today, Mark. Just before we say goodbye, is there anything else that we should be looking at if we want to run Google Ads?
No, I think we've covered off a lot there. The only other thing that I would probably flag is pixel placement on your website. It's the number one thing that people have trouble with, and it can be really tricky. Google has created a product called Google Tag Manager that makes it so much easier. So what we used to have to do is every time you had a new advertising platform, you had to put a pixel from that platform onto your website. If you didn't know what you were doing, it was really complicated. It's really complicated regardless. So what Google has done is created Google Tag Manager, which it gives you the ability to place one pixel once on your website, which is the Google Tag Manager pixel. And then through the Google Tag Manager platform, you can place multiple pixels into your what's called a container, and that will then port them through to your website automatically. So there's no need to jump into the website backend. You do that one time to put the pixel from Google in there, and then it's just a matter of jumping into the Google Tag Manager and putting in new pixels, taking out old ones and whatnot from there. So if someone is having any trouble with that, I definitely recommend looking up Google Tag Manager.
Awesome. That is a really, really great tip. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us. We're just finishing our conversation with Mark around Google Ads. Mark, so what if someone's really interested in this topic? Can you share any resources where people can go to learn more, or do you recommend just starting small and simple and learning as you go? What's the best way for us to learn Google Ads?
Google actually has a number of online resources. So there's no shortage of people selling courses. You can go to Coursera or Udemy or any of those places to download a course, pay for a course for someone to deliver a course. You could get an introductory course for $20 and it would give you the basics, which is really good. But Google does offer online training. It's pretty intense, so you need to study for it. They provide all the study resources. It will give you, by the end of it, if you go all the way through to the end, you will have an absolutely amazing understanding of how to run Google Ads. It's a really exhaustive process though. So if someone's interested in running Google Ads and they want to just have a little bit of information up their sleeve, I would recommend doing some research and downloading some paid courses that people have out there. Do it through, like I said, through one of the learning platforms like Udemy or the one that LinkedIn has. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a number of them on there.
Lynda.com?
Yeah. I think that was it. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I would start, just to get an introductory that won't take as long as the Google certification course.
Right. Okay. So Jade wants to know if the training through Google is free.
Yes.
Awesome. But it's exhaustive. That's the full-on training, right?
Yeah. To take the course at the end, I believe there's a small fee to take the course at the very end, but you can do all
a quiz or a test or something at the end. Yeah.
But you can do all of the training up until then. But yeah, I would recommend jumping on and doing just a $20 or $50 introductory course that won't take as long, and it will get you up and running sooner.
Awesome. Okay, so just for the people in our community, if you are a Rockhampton Regional Council Library card holder, you actually get free access to lynda.com, which is one of the resources that Mark was referring to before. So you can get free Google ad training through that platform. Just reach out to us through private message if you're not sure how to get access to lynda.com, but you do need to have a Rockhampton Regional Council Library card. I think you can also do that through the Brisbane Library. Actually, if you have a Brisbane Library card, then you can also get free access to lynda.com. It's a really amazing platform where you can pretty much learn and everything, including Google AdWords or Google Ads. Mark Allen, thank you so much. This has been absolutely phenomenal. I really, really appreciate your time and for you sharing this document and all your wisdom and knowledge. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. So join us again next Thursday at 1 o'clock for our next Hub Live. We'll see you then.